If you want to grind out top tier Swedish ground vehicles, then you have practically no other choice than the premium CV90, and I'll be explaining how to use it effectively in combat. First, we'll cover its mobility, firepower, and armor. The CV90 is extremely quick, and it has one of the best horsepower per ton ratios of any top tier premium, and it gets a 70 km/h top speed. It also has 3 reverse gears that let it go up to 43 km/h in reverse, which is really useful in urban combat where you're reversing and going forward all the time, and that's a big advantage. And it's worth knowing that many wheeled vehicles such as the Rod Kampfwagen, the Centauro, and the Recat are faster than you, and they're quite popular at this tier, so if you're rushing a cap, you'll be expecting to meet one of these vehicles relatively often. The 105mm gun performs exactly like a 105mm L7 gun does, and you'll be very familiar with this gun if you've played multiple top tier nations. The CV90 gets DM23, and this shell does not struggle at all at 9.0. You can cut right through XM1s, T55 AMs, no problem. But if you get up to 10.0, you will struggle against Abrams, and you'll have to aim for weak spots. And this goes for modern Russian MBTs like the T64 too. You have a very standard 8.7 second reload, and it goes down to 6 seconds when aced. And the turret rotation of this vehicle is pretty good. It's better than most tanks, but nothing special. And its gun depression is a little lacking at -7 degrees. Usually you'll see -10 on most tanks, but you can work around it. One thing that is of note is that you cannot depress the gun fully towards the rear. It's more like -3 degrees to the rear, and it differs at different angles, and you'll get a feel for it when you're playing. But it does get 20 degrees of gun elevation. The CV90 is a light tank, so it barely has any armor. You have a 20mm plate surrounding the front of your tank and the top. You have a 30mm plate as your mantlet, but this will stop basically no main cannon and you'll die. The sides have 60mm of protection, so 50 cals and 14.5s from the Russians will go through. You have a 10mm plate here, and it stops nothing. You will get hull broken by most TEAT and ATGMs and some APDS FS. So if you expose even the front of your tank, they can shoot your tracks and kill you. You have a 12-round ready rack. It includes 5 here and then 7 surrounding the crew. And then I would take 20 pieces of ammo. You fill up your ready rack and these 8 rounds here. Anything more than 20 and you'll start filling up this ammo, and it's just an unnecessary risk at that point. You increase your survivability, and if you want to be the most survivable, I would only take 12. The 2 most effective ways I found to use this tank was to rush and hold points, and then to flank or /snipe. In this match, we're on single cap Sinai, and I've rushed the point. I've gotten there first, and I capped it. I know that there's going to be a lot of people to my right, because that's where a lot of tanks park up, and like this tiny sniper fest happens. And I see a T64, I take his breach, and I dive back into cover. Artillery is kind of a concern in this tank since you're so light, but usually I just don't worry about it. Now I cut forward, and this is where I see one of my teammates shoot at something to my left. It's a 279. I go straight through his neck and take his ammo. Now I'm pushing up again, and I know there's people to my right, and I'm gonna be just looking there, and I'm gonna be using my scouting ability, which is very important by the way, and scouting for my team. I start hearing engine noises to the left of the rock, so now I'm gonna pull back. I see the XM1, I pull back, get a shot off on him, instant one shot, and he dies. Now I deploy my smoke grenades because I saw a bunch of people pushing up after I killed him, and I don't want any part of this. I go back up, check what's happening, and then I pop smokes again, and reverse. I don't have teammates that have a good overlook on that area of the map, so I'm not really harming them by popping the smokes, which you should be aware of. And now I have this I-Team 1 that I hit, but I don't get the kill. A teammate takes it, but that's fine. I don't really mind. But now we're pushing back up. I'm looking for more enemies, and you can see that the gun depression isn't as much towards the back as it is towards the front. I try to get a lucky shot on him. I can't. 279 pulls up to my right, and I'm like, "Hey, what's up?" And I take away his ammo, and that's it. After this, we retain control of the cap, and we basically win. Nothing much else happens after this point. Most of my teammates take the kills. Here we have a game of Bag Poland, and this is a single cap version of it, and this is the start. I see an XM803 way out there, I range him, and then I kill him in one shot. And that's the beauty of the GM23, you can kill people at basically any range, and that's why it's such a good round. And now I see a Ruicat, I don't get the shot off, he hits me in the turret, I'm disabled, and I'm gonna smoke, and now I'm gonna back off and get behind this hill behind me. Now it's after I repair, Ruicat's nowhere to be seen. I see this Russian tank, kill him in one shot, easy, that's it. I just want to talk about why I put flanking and sniping to the same category, because on bigger maps, which you tend to get at this tier, flanking becomes into sniping because you're so far out from the enemy team that you're sniping at that point. Flanking, I think, more applies to smaller city maps or smaller maps where you go around the enemy and you hit them in the ass, but that doesn't really happen on these bigger maps, and that's what I think about it. I just think sniping is a little boring in my opinion because you have to wait a lot. Now I'm coming up to this hill, I'm using my binoculars to look for enemies, and here we see another Russian tank, one shot, he's dead. Now I'm just scanning their spawns around in that area, so just being a little cautious. Looking at my thermals again, and they're second gen thermals, as you see. I rage over this hill line, take him out in one shot. And as I was saying, the thermals are really nice in this tank, crystal clear, both for commander and gunner, and you can range in binoculars too, so that's amazing. Range him, get a shot off on him. I don't kill him unfortunately, but I do see a Shilka in the background, and I range him, wait for my reload. He disappears into the bushes, but that's not that big of a problem. I get a lucky shot off, and he's dead. I hullbreak him. And now we skip a bit more, and now I'm just looking for targets again. And I see in the far distance that a teammate has marked the position of the Ruicat on the map. So now I'm gonna go check it out, and just to get over this ridge and kill him. Now it's near the end of the game. We've established control of the map, and now I find my final target. I scout him for extra SL, why not? And one shot after I range him, and he is dead. These are the results. I get 12,000 in RP, and it's pretty good for 7 kills.